So we finally had the press conference. Nick Sirianni, Howie Roseman. Did we learn anything? What's going on, folks? This is Coach Marcus, Pro Fan Talk. It was a thing. They asked a lot of good questions. A lot of coach speak. A lot of exec speak. Talking around the subject. Nick Sirianni doubling down on the fact that everything goes through him. Pass or fail, praise or criticism, or really criticism, everything is his responsibility, so he takes and shoulders the blame. And that's the way it should be. He's never been one to shy away from anything like that, so in my opinion, that was not anything new. It was a little bit of talking in circles, not necessarily a bad thing, but like I said, when you get in that coach speak and you get caught in that, it's one of those situations where both parties understand they already know that there's not going to be answer that solves everybody, that satiates everybody. So you're bound to get some talking in circles and some different things of that nature. And it just, what are you going to do about it? It wasn't anything bad. It wasn't a bad press conference by no means. I don't come out of it thinking worse of Sirianni or worse of Howie Roseman than I did going into the situation. I'm thinking all things remain the same. Nick Sirianni is going to be on the hot seat all next year. It is up to Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni to get their heads together and come up with a solution on who the next coordinators are going to be. That's going to determine everything, basically. But not long after the press conference was over, we get news that Vic Fangio has parted ways with the Miami Dolphins. And where do you think everybody's pointing for him to go? Come on up 95, stop off in Philly, grab you a cheesesteak, then head on over to NovaCare. And it looks like, according to Adam Schefter, that's probably what's going to happen. Now, it was interesting that the press conference started off, I believe it was a half hour late. It was scheduled to start at 2:30, but I don't think it started till close to 3. So maybe they were on the phone wheeling and dealing. Who knows? But we will find out soon enough. I would sincerely doubt if this goes through the weekend with the whole Fangio situation. Then on the other side of that, on the offensive side, all of a sudden Cliff Kingsbury gets into the picture, and he's a front runner for the Eagles' offensive coordinator job. Didn't see that one coming. I mean, I knew his name was in the ethos. Nobody associated him with Philadelphia. So that was interesting. I wouldn't necessarily be mad at that. I thought it was very interesting in the press conference. About 4 or 5 times, Nick referred to the offense as going stale the last 6 games. And I thought to myself, the offense wasn't stale. The offense worked when you called the right plays. We just weren't calling the right plays. By that logic, Brian Johnson was stale, and kinda Nick Sirianni was stale too. I think the offense was fine, minus some of the bubble screens and some of the decisions we made on 3rd and mid and 3rd and short. So I think it wasn't the offense, it was the minds behind the offense. So I thought that was interesting that he kept calling it stale. And then at one point he said he wanted the offense to be the Philadelphia Eagles offense. So basically, at least how I took it was, he didn't want, regardless of who came in as a coordinator, this was the offense. And I don't really know how I feel about that. Because if that was the offense and we couldn't figure out how to use it correctly, well, then maybe we need a new offense. Maybe your way isn't the best. I don't know. That's just me. So you still have a lot of questions. Social media is leaning toward the whole Vic Fangio thing. Maybe it will happen. Maybe it won't. Not sure. But I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all. So maybe Fangio and Kingsbury can come in here and they can make some things happen. I like the fact that Fangio's an old school dude, but I kind of wanted it flip-flop. I wanted an old school offensive coach and kind of a new school defensive coach. But don't nobody get what they want. So I can deal with Fangio. A lot of people are not crazy about it. Honestly, he still wouldn't be my first choice. I don't know, what would be the versus battle if you put Fangio versus Wink Martindale. It's not going to please everybody. Same thing if you hire Kingsbury. It's not going to please everybody. But what they have to do is they have to come in, look at their personnel, and make the necessary adjustments. And at the end of the day, that's the only thing you can judge them by. So hopefully, if and when they do get to Philadelphia, Vic Fangio can look at our defensive line, look at our linebacker situation, and advise Howie to do some things. Look at our secondary and make some changes. I think our secondary is okay. I think our defensive line is still good. We still have Fletch. We still have BG. We still have Josh Sweat. We still have Milt Williams. We still have Ajomo. And we still have Hassan Reddick. So I think our defensive line is in good shape. This is going to be a very important offseason and draft season for Howie. This year, we have to get some immediate players. As much as I like Nakobe Dean, he's not a reliable source anymore until he proves that he can stay healthy through a season. So as much as I like him, I got to see him through the year. I think our secondary is young enough to get better. Bradbury, they got to find a way to get him out because he just can't play anymore. And that's from a whole season sample size. His drop-off was not gradual. He went off a cliff. Anybody would say the same thing. Slay, I still believe can play. But we got some young kids, some young studs. Killy Ringo, Ricks, Sidney Brown. So hopefully he'll be coming back full speed and he can make a full recovery from that ACL. The secondary looks pretty good. Our big question mark is linebacker. That's the QB of the defense. I wouldn't mind seeing them keep Cunningham and then drafting somebody else high and letting them play. I think Nakobe Dean's going to be itching to play and prove that he belongs. So that's a benefit to us. It wasn't because he played or his play on the field. I think he was solid. He just couldn't stay on the field. So if he can stay healthy, any means necessary, then I think we'll be okay. And we got to get some depth. We'll probably get 2 or 3 more good receivers. We gotta fill those special team spots. We gotta figure out what we're gonna do with DeAndre Swift. I hope they re-sign him. The kid was tops in the league. Again, we had a top running back in the league 2 years in a row. And we, in my opinion, we still didn't run him right. We'll be okay in that situation. I really hope that they sign DeAndre Swift. Let's keep him around. If you want to add a big back in there, so be it. Add a big back. Somebody that we can run some play action with. Somebody that where we can put Jalen Hurts under center and let him hand the ball off. I mean, technically we can do that with DeAndre Swift. They just don't. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole again. Talked about that ad nauseum. Fangio probably wouldn't have been my first choice. Would I have liked Ron Rivera over Fangio? I think I would have. I'm not going to sneeze at Vic Fangio. Offensive coordinator, I really wanted an old school coach because I need somebody to come in that can wipe Sirianni's fingerprints off the offense. That's his offense. I need that glass clean. I refuse to believe somebody that you had in-house for 2 years, that he was that inadequate as an offensive coordinator. Had to be something, either had his hands tied. I don't know. I could be wrong. It could be all on him, and he could be the worst play caller in the NFL. That is possible. I don't believe that is the case. In any case, he's out of here, and he's on to the next thing for him. It is incumbent upon the Eagles to bring in somebody that can wipe Sirianni's fingerprints off this offense. And you can run the offense in a logical, aggressive way that takes advantage of the strengths that we do have. That's what I want to see from our offensive coordinator, whoever it turns out to be. I need common sense play caller. If it's 3rd and 3, if it's 3rd and 5, I don't want to throw the ball 30 yards downfield. And if it does come to a situation, let's say we find out that, yeah, it was Jalen Hurts changing the plays all of those times. If it was, it was. I need a coach that's able to get to Jalen Hurts to tell him that says, hey, don't do that. You take the high percentage passing play going across the middle, and we'll keep the chains moving. It is not an unreasonable request to want your offensive coordinator to do that with your quarterback. I guess the first shoe is dropped. Everybody that needs to be out is out, and we're on to the next thing. So my guess is we're going to get Vic Fangio in here. He's going to be our defensive coordinator. So be it, if that's the way it goes. And then the big X factor is who's going to be running the offense. Because technically, as bad as we complain about how it ended, we still have one of the better offenses in the league. We still have a top 10 offense. So I need somebody to take the keys to that car, clean out the engine, get all the gunk out of the engine, because we still got the powerful engine that is Jalen Hurts. We still got the premium race tires that is A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. I need somebody that's going to come in and understand and know how to use these weapons, how to call a screen game, how to set up play action, how to throw the short passes to the running back, how to utilize the middle of the field. And for God's sake, somebody that can come in and pick up the damn blitz. Not hard questions to answer. We got to get somebody in here that can get the job done.